welcome back. This is segment 3 of Your Questions, My Answers, episode 29. And segment 3 is sponsored by Camacho Cigars and their new super premium 10th anniversary Corojo. And well, we've answered all the questions, so it's time to hit a couple of quick discussion topics. But first and foremost, you just heard, or no, actually you didn't, because I'm going to play it later. But in any case, the first topic up for discussion is Oliva Cigar announcing that they're going to have a new Connecticut wrap cigar in the works. And the idea here is they would like to cater to the milder cigar smoker, because I think the mildest cigar they make, I think that would be either the special or the Series G, Cameroon, and Maduro are kind of medium-ish, and they're a little bit too much for some of the mild-bodied smokers. So the idea is to come out with this new cigar with a light wrapper, which is going to be more in the mild range to suit that particular flavor profile. Had you heard anything about this, Brian?
No, actually, this is the first I'm hearing of it, so this is late breaking to me too. I think that's a great idea. It's a good idea to cater to the as much of the market as you can, and I don't talk to a lot of people who just smoke mild cigars. I know we always talk about it, but it just this just kind of brought something to mind. I was in the cigar shop, I don't know, last week or week before or something like that, and I was in there. I was talking with some people, and one of the guys there was a cigar rep, and it surprised me that we were talking about cigars. He's like, "Oh yeah, those are too strong for me." I think he was, I don't want to say, actually I'm going to hold off on saying which cigar rep he was, but he pretty much, of his line, he smoked the mild, smooth, the smooth, mild Connecticut that they have, and that was pretty much it. And that was, that's, it kind of stuck out to me, because I was thinking about it. It's like, well, you know what, most of the people I talk to and the people I interact with on Cigar Live and other stuff, they're all pretty much, it's almost without exception, it sounds like down the line it's medium or full body cigar smokers. So it could just be the way the trends have been. But this particular guy, he's been in the business for quite a while. He's got some experience, and he only smokes the milds. That's his cigar. So I think it's a good idea to make these available. Don't forget about people like that enjoy the mild ones, and I'll be interested in trying it out. I'm always up for a new cigar, always up for a new flavor. So I say go for it, and not like they're waiting for my approval to do it, but I'll give it a shot. I'll check it out. What do you think, Walt? I know you've been into Connecticut a lot recently, so I'm guessing you like this idea.
Yeah, I mean, the only mild cigar, or really mild cigar, that I can think of that Oliva produces is the Flor de Oliva Gold. And I actually haven't tried one yet. I'm going to have to make it a point to pick one up. I don't know if this new facing is going to have a new letter. I don't know if it's going to be a variation of the G or the O or whatever the case may be. But the cigar is slated to come out around April 1st. It's going to be a soft launch. There's not a whole lot of talk behind it. It's just going to be available all of a sudden, which is nice too. There's not a lot of hype building up behind the cigar, and you've got so much other stuff going on with Oliva right now, especially with the nubs, that you really don't want to conflict things. But the timeline for the cigar is right. They want to cater to the mild market, and I really like Connecticut wrap cigars earlier on in the day. When I have the opportunity to work from home, if we have inclement weather, or on a Saturday or Sunday when I'm not working, I really like sitting down, checking my email and stuff with a cup of coffee and a mild cigar early on in the day. And I really think this is going to fit the bill for me. It's going to be interesting. I got to check it out and see where it's going to fall in my daily lineup. But from what I hear, it's going to be pretty mild. So it just might work out to be my new favorite morning smoke. But we have yet to see it. And actually, I've got to hound Oliva a little bit, see if I can get one before they're available, and maybe do a pre-release review. But I don't want to push my luck. I had great success with hounding them and getting the nub cigars, so I don't want to push it.
Well, maybe it's my turn to try to push it a little bit. I haven't gotten too much cigar love from Oliva in a while, so we'll see if I can score some of those. That'd be that'd be fun. We'll see how that goes.
And speaking of new cigars, and especially Connecticut's, I had just done a review on the Perdomo Habano Maduro, and I did a little research on the blend, and I came across something that said that Perdomo is going to include a Connecticut in their Habano line. That line of cigars is more medium to full kind of range, so I don't think this is going to be a particularly mild cigar, but Perdomo is going to be adding a new Connecticut to the mix and slapping the Habano, branding on it. So I'm kind of interested to see where that goes too. I really enjoyed both the Maduro and the Corojo more so than the Maduro. So this will be something to try. Just so I can say, I smoked all three of those Habanos, and I don't know, bragging rights, I guess. Have you had any of the Habano yet?
I had I believe I had the Corojo, and I thought it was a good cigar. I haven't have not tried the Maduro, and I'm gonna have to check that out. And well, now I'm gonna have to check out this Connecticut one. But I thought that was a good cigar. I was actually going to review it, and got sidetracked with some other stuff, and then I lo and behold, you put up a review, so I had a few sitting aside for that. And I haven't gotten back to them since. I'm interested to see how that's gonna work out. I got to try out the Maduro also, but yeah, I think it's the more the merrier. I would say, it could be a very good thing.
I would expect the price point to be pretty much in line with the rest of the Habano line, being around $5 for the Robusto. So it should be kind of value priced. So it just kind of falls in a good place for me. I'm looking forward to trying it because I like the other cigars in the line. Also, something else I wanted to ask you is, I guess JoeCigar.com is a new or semi-new, because I'm just seeing it for the first time in the last week or so, and it seems like people have got the bug. They're either buying a ton of cigars off Joe Cigar or Cigar Monster. Joe Cigar is ran by Cigars International, and Cigar Monster is, of course, Famous's take on it. Cigar Monster's been up longer, from what I understand. I actually bought from Cigar Monster a while back, and this is the first I'm hearing about Joe Cigar. But from what I hear, there's a little bit of competition going back and forth. There was one particular cigar, I don't remember which one it was, but they both had the same cigar as a special on the same day. And I think there were a couple of volleys for who could get the lower price in the same day kind of thing. So it was pretty interesting. I know that Famous offered the cigars in a box. Cigars International offered the same cigars in a bundle, and I don't know, there was a little bit of competition going on. And from what I hear, there were a lot of cigars sold over it, because the company's competing and dropping the price, and it was interesting. Have you looked into either of those sites at all?
Well, actually, yes, I have these. Google has a front page that lets you put a bunch of aggregated content all together. And I've got 3 sections dedicated to these daily type of cigar deals. And I saw what you were talking about, and I'm trying to remember. I actually did the math, and I think when I was cleaning up today, I believe I just threw out the little sheet of paper where I had done the math to figure out. Oh, wow, I just leaned off camera. That's not a good idea. I had done the math to figure out which one was cheapest, and I don't remember what the cigar was or who was cheaper, but I thought that was pretty funny. So I've been keeping an eye on, there's a today's cigar, daily cigar type of thing. You can put it in a feed reader and get just a daily, whatever they're offering. Today happens to be the La Gloria Cubana Serie R No. 4 Maduro. Cigar Monster is doing Value Line 600, and this is kind of funny. Joe Cigar is doing the Felipe Gregorio Dominicana Fat Boy, which looks an awful lot like a nub. And I got to say, when I saw that, I was tempted to buy them, and I was thinking, if there was any chance of my getting them before the Herf this weekend, it might be funny to bring those along to just give Sam some jazz about that, as a competitor to his nub. It's pretty funny, but yeah, I mean, I watch these pretty closely. I'm frequently on Cigar Bid. I'm very much I'm always watching these sites. So yeah, I've been watching these for quite a while. I think that Joe Cigar I only became aware of right around the beginning of this year, but Cigar Monster I've purchased from in the past, and they've been around for a while. I don't know exactly how long. So, but in terms of having the bug, I think I bought from all three at different times. Now I got to say that for quite a while there, Cigar Monster seemed to be selling a bunch of unusual stuff, or just stuff that I wasn't terribly interested in, or just wasn't really drawn to as much. I think they've come back a little bit towards some more, recognizable name brands. But for a while there, they kind of wandered off the path into the forest, so to speak. So, that I'm going off on a tangent here. So I'll throw the ball back into your court. Have you been buying from all these? Are you aware of the Today's cigars also?
Well, I've heard of Today's Cigars. I think I looked at it a couple of times. I haven't ordered from any of them in quite a while. The last time I bought from Cigar Monster, I think it was when they were running a special on the La Vieja Habana by Drew Estates. And the special was like $14 a box or $17 a box, and I ended up buying like 3 or 4. So I was very happy with the deal I got. And that was quite a while ago. This was, of course, when they were only available as the Fuma with the one wrapper and all. But it's interesting that you bring that up. Cigar Monster had some fantastic content initially, and then they started to kind of fade off into the more obscure stuff, and I totally lost interest. And now it seems like, since there's a new game in town, now they're picking back up, getting more into the more mainstream cigars, because there's competition. So it's going to be interesting to see where all this plays out. And the funny thing you mentioned about the Felipe Gregorio. Actually, 2 things. I just got an email from Tom and Ed Nazari today telling me what the next cigar review was going to be, and it's going to be a I'm not going to say it, I can't. Felipe Gregorio. It's not going to be the Max Power, I don't think, but that's what's slated next. And also, they're going to be on the next episode of Your Questions, My Answers. Episode 30. So if you have any questions geared directly towards them, please get them in ahead of time so that I can get the guys the questions. They can look them over, and we'll have them answer some questions direct to them. But also, going back to the nub cigar, I was browsing around on one of the forums, and I saw a link to this cigar factory which rolls their own cigars. I think that's all they deal with. They have a team of rollers, and they produce their own cigars, and they have the new Stumpy, which is I think it's a 4x66. So I thought it was kind of interesting that now all of a sudden there's a lot of hype behind the nub, that you're seeing a lot more of these other cigars pop up. I think the Stumpy is new though. The Felipe Gregorio is probably older. But in any case, it's interesting to see these cigars pop up to kind of follow the trend, because I guess because all the steam the nub has, that people are kind of jumping on the bandwagon, so to speak, and or at least as one company seems to be jumping on the bandwagon. It was pretty interesting. Cigars were very cheap. I'm definitely not going to order them. For one, just because I don't really have any interest in ordering them. There's no animosity towards them or anything like that. But it's interesting. There's another company that's got a 4x66, and they're brand spanking new, from what I understand. So Sam's going to have a little bit of competition right out of the gate.
Yeah, I was reading a thread on Cigar Life about that, and some people were actually very, irritated about that. But I was kind of interested in checking some of their cigars out at one point, because they're, that, I think it's called Cigar FO or something like that, for Factory Outlet. I'm not sure what their website is specifically, but some of the members had ordered them and found them to actually be, some pretty good cigars, and they were under $2 a stick. So then I guess they got a little too much interest from the site, and I last heard that they were having some delay issues with getting the cigars out. So I've heard that they're fairly good, but I haven't. I'm not sure if I'm going to go chase them down or not. I do think it's funny that there's all this interest in suddenly these very short, fat cigars. Um, yeah, that's funny, but hey, it's one of those things. If it's gotten a lot of buzz, so people are trying to anticipate what the demand is going to be, and it looks like some people are thinking, hey, if Oliva's coming out with this very short, very rotund cigar, that maybe that's the next trend, maybe that's where it's at. So I can't blame them for jumping at that. Now I sincerely doubt that they're going to come close to creating something comparable other than dimensions. So, but it's kind of funny to watch.
Yeah, actually, when I first saw that site, I looked at it a little bit, and it kind of bothered me a little bit. Because they have the Stumpy that's competing with the Nub, and then I also saw a cigar called the Graffiti, and it was quoted as the Tat Lover's Dream or something like that. It was it was a play on Tatawahe, so it was like, it seems like this company's really out to take some business away in the alternative market. I mean, everyone else does it as far as like JR Cigars and TNT. They have their own alternative, but I don't know, this one. In my mind, it almost seemed like they crossed the line by kind of taking this kind of stance on it. But I do hear some good things about their cigars. Of course, they're going to be inexpensive because they're rolling them right there, and that's all they produce. So I don't know. It might be interesting to give them a shot, but I really don't have any plans for them in the very near future. I've got plenty of other cigars that I'm delayed enough that I have to finally get reviewed. But anyway, at this point, let us take a listen to Carlos's answer to last week's question, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Walt, how are you? This is Carlos from Union, New Jersey, calling in with my advice on the whole tobacco beetle ordeal. I've actually encountered this at my local J&R Cigars. I bought a box of the Hoyo de Nicaragua Antonio series. I got to the car, ripped off the cellophane, and lo and behold, the entire box was infested with beetles. Went right back inside and exchanged the box for another one, which I opened up there on the spot and checked it out, made sure that none of the cigars had any holes in them. I guess, when it comes down to buyer beware, I mean, did it prevent me from buying another box? No. I got another box. I could have easily gotten my money back and, went off somewhere else. But, I'm pretty sure it can happen just about anywhere. You just got to be careful, save your receipts. I know some shops will exchange merchandise if not smoked, or they'll just... I'm not sure. It just comes down to buyer beware. If I walk into a store and I see, tobacco beetles running around on the cigars, I would definitely, mention something to the shop owner. And, hopefully he would eradicate that problem right there and then. And I'd probably give it a couple of weeks until I, go back and pick up anything. But even if that cigar shop was the only place around that sold those particular cigars that I wanted, I'd probably go about setting up a secondary humidor where I would store them for a couple months before moving them over to, to the main humidor. So that's my take on the whole cigar tobacco beetle thing. I haven't been around. I just want to give you guys a quick update. I was recently diagnosed with a thyroid cancer. I just got home yesterday from having my procedure done. So no smokes for me for 6 weeks. I'm in awful pain, doped up on painkillers. So 6 more weeks, and then I go for my treatments, and then I'm able to smoke again. So the big C, I'm pretty sure the cancer wasn't caused by my cigar smoking, so it's not going to prevent me from smoking anymore. This is my second bout with cancer. I'm only 32 years old, so no cancer history in my family, so who knows what's going on. Just a string of bad luck, I guess. But all right, guys, well, keep up the good work, and I'm back on here, and even though I'm not smoking, I still enjoy watching your shows, so Keep up the good work, guys.
All right, and you just heard from Carlos, and man, we are really sorry to hear about the cancer. Man, it's 32, 32 years of age, and in having to deal with this twice. I mean, I can't even imagine dealing with it once, man. Wow. Really sorry. I hope you sound very positive, which is always a good thing. State of mind is always a positive thing with this, and since you've triumphed in the past, I'm have absolutely believe that you're going to have no trouble smoking this one again. But wow. Our thoughts and prayers will be with you, and for speedy recovery, and hope that things go well for you. But thanks for listening in, and thanks for sending your answer to us. What was I going into, Walt? I forgot. Oh, crap. Okay. We got some stuff for a gag reel. Anyway, so another topic that came up in the discussion of the Rocky Patel, the new Fusion Double Maduro that I reviewed, is basically the idea of what's the fermentation process in ammonia. I mean, what are your thoughts, Walt, on the best way to age the cigar to ensure the minimal amounts of unwanted chemicals, ammonia, whatever else. Is it more effective? Is it more effective to age, before it's rolled, after it's rolled? Is it even effective when it's rolled? That sort of thing. So, what are your thoughts on that, Walt?
Well, I think that the best option would be to get a complete fermentation before the cigar is rolled. But if you got a bum stick, or you got a bum batch where you bought a box and you smoked 2 or 3 of them, and they just overwhelm you with ammonia. I don't know. I think it's going to take some serious time to get all that ammonia and unwanted stuff out of the cigar. And I think the best thing to do would be to take the cigar out of the cellophane, take every one of them out of the cellophane, and store them loose like that. If it's possible to put them in a cedar tray, I think that would be your best bet. And the reason behind taking the cellophane off was to get some more transfer through the cigar. When the cellophane's going to quote unquote slow down the aging process, so if you get it off of there, I think you're going to get more transfer, and you're more likely to get the ammonia out at a much faster pace. But I can't imagine getting an entire box like that, but I suppose it is very possible, and that would be my solution. Would be to store them in an open container inside of a cooler, again like a cedar tray or something, totally naked, no cellophane or anything like that, and see if that brings them around. I might try one in 3 months, try another one in 6 months, and see where you stand. I really don't have any experience with this. I think it could very well take upwards of a year maybe to totally rid yourself of the ammonia problem. But again, I don't have any previous experience with it. Unfortunately, you got some bad luck with that Rocky Patel Fusion. I mean, if you were in a situation where you got an entire box like that, what would your approach be on alleviating that problem?
Well, as you said, I got it as part of a sampler, and I'm actually a little concerned about the other cigars. I'm hoping that there wasn't a huge batch of all these different cigars that are coming through. I'm thinking that's unlikely, but you make a good point with taking off the cellophane. That hadn't quite occurred to me, and the one I have left that I'm not going to touch for a while I think it's still in a cellophane. So as soon as the show is done, I'm going to take that guy out of there. I'm obviously not in a hurry to smoke it, but I would think that if you got an entire box that was just had this huge issue with chemicals and ammonia, I would say it may not even be enough to just leave them in the box. You may take them out of the box they came in. Get rid of that box. You lay them out. I've actually seen, and the thing I would think about doing to speed up the process, I saw in, I think, European Cigar Cult Journal, they had, and I think this is kind of, in terms of expense and the space it uses, is a bit ridiculous, but they had a little, almost like a wine rack for cigars, where it was a kind of a grid shape, and you could stack the cigars in this case, and they would have airflow all around them. And so, I mean, I don't know that if that was a problem you're going to have a lot of, or if I were aging cigars or something. I actually consider that, but only if you have a lot of space to spare. In terms of having a whole box, I think that your idea with taking the cellophane off, I think I would probably try to isolate these from my other cigars, but I would try to store them loose and try to store them in such a way that would maximize the airflow. And I'm thinking that it's going to take a lot longer after they're rolled to reduce this, but I'm pretty sure that it can be done. And the reason I say that is because when I was down doing the factory tour down in the Dominican Republic, the Arganese factory tour, that Gene both aged the tobacco beforehand through a lengthy process, rotating and whatnot, stacking, rotating, all this stuff, and baling and whatnot. And after they were rolled, he would put them there were two separate aging rooms after the fact. And the room before they were rolled would kill you with the ammonia. The room after they were rolled actually was surprising to me, in that it was still really rough in there. When you went in there, I was very ready to be out of that that room within an hour. So he'd age them in two separate rooms on their way out to reduce that. So it's surprising to me, how much is in there, but it gives me hope that it's possible to age that out of your cigars, so they're not a complete write-off. But I mean, if you don't have a lot of room and you don't buy a lot of cigars, man, that's a really rough string of luck to get, to be stuck with those. I would actually consider, if you get those and you maintain a small amount of cigars, you don't buy cigars very often, I would say you smoke the one, and I would actually consider going back to the shop you bought it at and say, hey, these things are just chock full of ammonia. Can I trade out the boxes? And I think that a good B&M is probably going to do that for you. Assuming you just got a bad batch or something like that. That's all I can think of, really, because up until now I haven't really had any kind of a problem with that amount of chemical presence in the cigars. So did you think of anything while I was rambling here, Walt?
Oh yeah, I had a slew of comments to just enter my brain, but the one point you make about bringing them back to the cigar shop, I actually bought a box of Arturo Fuentes, Chateau Fuentes a while back, and I bought these cigars, and it's not an ammonia problem. Here's something totally different. I got these cigars, and I lit the first one up shortly after buying it, and it was just a miserable burn. I couldn't keep the cigar lit. It had a really funky ash on it. It was just a miserable cigar, so I let it sit a little bit longer. Maybe another month or two went by. I pulled another one, smoked it again, same issue. Fast forward 7 months later, and I'm still having the problem with this box of cigars. I've gone through about 6 of them. And here's a situation where, well, I bought the box, I tried one, and it wasn't so great. And I wasn't about to go back to the manufacturer and say, hey, look, or go back to the retailer and say, hey, look, I want to discount this entire box because I had one bad one. So I gave it time, and after 7 months, it was like, oh, what do I do? I've got this box of cigars that are pretty much useless to me. And I contacted Arturo Fuente, and one of their sales people got back to me and told me to exchange the box. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. I bought these cigars from Tinderbox. They're never going to take these cigars back 7 months down the line. So, if you're in a situation like me where you got that first one and you thought, oh, some age will do it good, and it's been 7 months, 12 months, whatever the case may be, you're stuck with them. I never even bothered contacting Tinderbox because I seriously doubt they were going to take them back after so long. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. On occasion, you'll get a bad box, but it may be in your best interest to get 2 or 3 of them out of the way right away if you get a bum one, just so you know whether you've got an issue with an entire box or not. Because if you're in a situation like me, it really sucks if, in my case, I've got 3/4 of a box of cigars that I'm probably never going to touch. They're going to hit the Muchador very soon, and anyone that wants to bum a cigar is just going to get one of these cigars that burn miserably. And usually the people that get the Muchador cigars are the ones that don't appreciate cigars anyway. They light it up, they'll take, half a dozen puffs and say, oh, that was great. They'll lay it down and that'll be the end of it. And my jaw hits the floor. You got to be kidding me. But that's another story for another time. But one thing that you did bring to mind as you were rambling on there, as you said, Brian, was rapid aging cigars. And this ties into, the things that make you go, huh? That the contest that we're running. Here's a story for you. I was at a cigar shop quite a while back, and I overheard the owner talking to one of the guys in the shop, and they said, these cigars, they were Rocky Patel Nordings actually. These cigars are really rough. I think they're pretty young. And the shop owner says, I'll take care of that for you. Come back tomorrow and they'll be in top-notch shape. He goes, well, how are you going to do that? He said, I'm going to rapid age the cigars for you, and then, you can buy that box and they'll be fine. Well, he says, how are you going to rapid age the cigars? Oh, I'm going to microwave them. I said, I'm thinking to myself, you're going to microwave your cigars? That's going to rapid age them? I mean, I guess it makes sense. There's heat and pressure, and there's your fermentation right there. But I heard that, and I was just like, wow, you're going to microwave cigars? I've never heard that before. I've never tried it. I have no interest in trying it, but just thought it was a relevant story here. I wouldn't recommend microwaving your cigars, but in a last-ditch effort, I don't know, pop 2 or 3 of them in the microwave and see what happens.
Well, you have a 3/4 of a box you're not going to smoke. I think you owe it to us now to rapid age those Fuentes. That is so awesome. I want to hang out in the shops you hang out in, because mine are so boring. People don't say stuff like this. I've never heard of anything like that. Oh my God. But in terms of, I was just thinking that I didn't get to it, but I had pictured it in my mind with these cigars to make sure that to facilitate the aging, the cleaning process of getting these chemicals out. I was thinking I'd actually consider stacking them in such a way, kind of like Lincoln log cabin type of way, so they're alternating. I would think if you had a whole box, I'm just coming up with MacGyver-esque solutions, because I honorarily the MacGyver of the show today apparently. So I just thought I'm gonna get a prosthetic mullet to put on whenever this happens. But but back to your story. I want to hang out in your shops. My shops are so boring in comparison. Let me tell you, jeez.
Maybe if those Fuentes had an ammonia problem, I might just be willing to give it a shot. But for a burn issue, I don't think I'm willing to microwave them. But the stories are far and few between. You really hear these outrageous stories. They're spread out a few months at a time. But when you hear them, you're just in complete amazement. Like, did he just say what I think he said? And it's funny to look back on it because, well, it's humorous. But it's something that I would never try at home. I don't know, I could just see him now, putting on the safety goggles and the white coat and putting him in the microwave. He said, just pop in the microwave for 30 seconds and, it's like, pop them in the microwave, use the popcorn setting, take care of your cigars right away for you, rapid age. But, it's just crazy stories from time to time, and, outrageous.
Well, I guess at this time it's really appropriate an appropriate question to ask. What have you been smoking, Walt?
Well, definitely not microwave Rocky Patel Nordings, but I actually have had a handful of Rocky Patel Nordings, and these things seem to be really hit or miss with me. I don't know whether it's just the shop I'm buying them from or what, but some of them are just extraordinary cigars, and other ones are just pretty flat. So I've got mixed feelings about the Nording, and I'm still willing to give them a try. I smoked a handful of those. I went to an Oliva event last week in Gettysburg, which was a fantastic time. It was really a good time. It was Reenactors Appreciation Week, and the town was just loaded full of people in the Civil War garb, and it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. While I was there, I smoked a couple of Oliva Suri Gs in both Cameroon and Maduro. I had an Suri O. I wrapped up the night with an El Cobre after we had dinner, and since then I've kind of sprinkled in a couple of different things: the Perdomo Habano Maduro, another Oliva Suri O, this time in a number 4, and I really think that's about it. And, maybe the occasional El Cobre, but it's been kind of slow. What about you?
Well, it occurred to me while we were going through the show that I've been smoking quite a few Rocky Patels recently, in just kind of by accident. Of course, the Fusion Double Maduro. We had the Edge Maduro tonight, which I mostly enjoyed. It's dead, cold and dead now, but let's see. I've had my share of the actually Edge Lights, which are a great light cigar, very very enjoyable. Let me think here. I also had another a Rocky Patel vintage '92 that had a good amount of age on it. I actually really enjoyed that. It's probably been sitting in one of my humidors, undisturbed for probably 6 months or so at least. I have no idea how exactly old it is. I also I had a getting away from that. I had a last week at the local cigar shop. I heard word that they had a good supply of Ashton VSGs that were at least a year old. They've been aging for quite a while, and I'm not sure how on earth that happens. But as it works out, the people who just took over the shop happened to know that the stock they got had been sitting aging someplace for an unusual amount of time. And I smoked one, and it was fantastic. It was really enjoyable. I think that mostly covers it. I mean, I know I've been smoking a bunch of stuff. I've had a few Organies, sprinkled in here and there, just because I still have a bunch left, and kind of pacing myself on those. I'm kind of all over the place, but it seems that recently, just quite by accident, I've been all about Rocky Patel. Yeah, that's pretty much. By the way, Walt, how'd you finish up your Edge Maduro? Did that still kind of stay rough with you, or are you still working on it, or is that dead?
No, it's dead. I pitched that a little while ago. It got really harsh at the end, and it started giving me a mild headache, and I just figured it was best to just toss it. Up until that point, I really enjoyed it. Really rich and flavorful, and I'm gonna have to dig through the cooler and see if I have some more. I know I picked up, at least 5 of them at that event, so there might be 1 or 2 floating around yet. So maybe I'll have to dig through them. Maybe, I don't know, maybe another year will make it, completely smooth all the way through, but you never know. But at any rate, it's about time to announce the winner from for this week's 601 Oscuro sampler pack. And that goes out to John from Cigar Live, Wing Fan. So John, if you get me your information, I'll get your 3-pack of 601 Oscuros out, and because I use 5-finger bags, I'll toss 2 random cigars in there for you, so you'll get a complete 5-pack. Carlos was the only answer for MQYA this time around, so he's entered into the raffle next show to win a puck courtesy of Cigarmany. And again, I'm really sorry to hear that, Carlos, about your diagnosis, and I wish you the best of luck. And it seems like you're very positive about, smoking a cigar in 6 months. And I got to say, if you're going to smoke a cigar in 6 months, dig out the best, the cream of the crop, the best cigar you have. That would be the time to break it out and really enjoy it. Treat yourself. And again, back to the MQYA thing. Next week's, or the question this week, to be answered in episode 30 is, wow, what did we decide? That's not good. I forget what the question was going to be.
Well, actually, I happen to remember. I forgot there for a second too, and I was jogging my memory to. The question is what cigar, which of the newly released cigars or upcoming releases are you most looking forward to? I know we've talked about the Nub in the past, and that's not out yet, but that's going to be out soon, and there's events for that. I think the Camacho 10th Anniversary Corojo is, I don't know if it's quite out yet. I know it's right around now, I think is when they were talking about officially releasing that. Of course, we had mentioned the two different Connecticut's that are coming out, the Perdomo Habano Connecticut and the new Oliva Connecticut. So the question is which one of these or some other cigars? I mean, because there's going to be tons of cigars coming out that we probably are not even thinking about that are really enticing. So which cigar that's coming out this year are you most looking forward to, and why? That's the question. I think that's what we decided, right, Walt?
Yep, that was definitely the question. I should have jotted that down. But at any rate, unfortunately, this has gone not as good as I would have hoped. So if we don't get much of a turnout or much of in terms of answers for next show, we're going to be forced to discontinue MQYA just because it's not really fun to put two names in a hat and pick a winner. So maybe we'll have to come up with something else to some other way of giving away the pucks courtesy of Cigarmany. So if you're kind of on the fence, pick up the phone, dial 610-572-2636, and answer the question so that we can keep doing this, because I don't know, I think it's thought-provoking and fun, but I don't know, I guess the masses decide. You can also contact me on Skype at wwhite72082. Leave me a voicemail there. Again, the Skype service is free if you don't want to call my voicemail service. You can also record yourself via MP3 and email it to me at walt@stogiereview.com. And any of those ways will get you entered into the monthly raffle for a puck courtesy of Cigarmany. But Brian, I think that about does it for the show. So why don't you take us on out?
All right. Well, we'd like to thank you all for watching and for your questions. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors. Cigarmany, the Dog Watch, Camacho. Hope I'm not forgetting anybody there. We really appreciate it. Make sure you keep sending your questions in. I mean, this show is built on those questions. We need them. And don't make us make the MQYA go away. Pick up the phone and call, and it's trying to make these guys easy for you. So it's completely painless to call. We'll try. If we have to, we'll come up with a way to receive smoke signals and other ways of getting the answers. I mean, whatever it takes. I mean, send in your answers. And thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.